I just got done with trading and today I made approximately $7,000 by taking one good trade on Adobe, and I was actually waiting for this exact trade for the past 2 weeks. So let's do a complete breakdown in this video. Let's start with the weekly chart of this stock, because on the weekly chart we had a huge rally recently. This was because of multiple factors. The first reason is that they are doing great things with AI, and a lot of stocks that are related to AI like Nvidia also are having huge rallies recently. Adobe had a recent rally, and also they reported earnings about 4 weeks ago. They beat the earnings, and after that we have been consolidating in the past 3 weeks we have been consolidating in this range. So huge rally on high volume, consolidation on low volume, and we made lower highs on the weekly chart for the past 3 weeks. So this is amazing. A plus setup on the weekly chart. This is the basics of price action. Bullish move up on high volume, consolidation on low volume. So this is looking like a really good for a continuation trade towards the upside. Now let's take a look at the daily chart. On the daily chart, we can see the same thing. After the earnings, we gapped up, but we sold off on that day. And after that sell-off, we are just consolidating in a range. But the amazing thing is that the range is getting tighter and tighter. We can see that the price action moves in waves. We had this range, huge range, and then the range is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So that means this stock is looking really good for a breakout, maybe towards the upside or towards the downside. Me as a day trader, most of my playbook setups are with the trend. As we saw, we are making a bull flag on the weekly chart. So ideally, I want this stock to push towards the upside, and that's what we did on this day. Looking really good on the daily chart, a nice bull flag. I'm going to add my levels again. So we can see lower highs on the 1-day chart right here. So it was looking really good on Monday this week for a continuation move above 490. One very important level I was watching comes from the weekly chart, because the high of the prior week, as I said, we are making lower highs on the weekly chart. The high of the prior week, I'm going to just mark it weekly high, was 490.42. So that means if we get above this level, 490.42, that means we officially make a new weekly high, and that is the level I was closely watching for a breakout towards the upside. If we make a new weekly high, we might go for the break of 500, potentially 505, or maybe even 520, which is the 52-week high of this stock. Let's also take a look at the game plan that I post every single market open day on our Discord group. I mentioned the same thing. I have been watching this stock for the past 2 weeks. You guys know if you have been joining our webinars recently, because every single webinar I have been talking about this play. Hold of 490, 495, or maybe a hold near 489 as well for the break of 490. I'm watching this stock for a break towards 500, potentially 505. So let's now take a look at the intraday time frames, that is the 5-minute chart and the 1-minute chart, and discuss my entries and exits. So here's the 1-minute chart of Adobe in front of you. I took my position at 9:31 a.m. candle. I waited patiently for the first 1 minute because it was start of a new week, and also recently I was traveling, so I was not comfortable taking a position right off the open. I wanted to wait and see how we close on the first 1-minute candle. We can see on the first 1 minute, 9:30 a.m., we had a really strong push towards the upside, a very good green candle. The low of this candle is 484.65 and the high is 488. That means we moved like 4 to 5 points within this one big strong green candle. When I saw that, I was like, okay, this can make a new weekly high, which is $490.42 level. And if we get above that level, we will at least see 495. That makes it a really good risk to reward trade. So at 9:31 a.m. candle, this was my signal bar and this was my entry bar. I entered my position right here at 9:31 a.m. I took 20 contracts of 495 calls and I took 20 contracts of 500 calls. So in total, I took 40 contracts. My plan was to hold 500 calls for a bigger push towards the upside for maybe the break of 500, and I can take my profits from 495 calls at the break of 495. And I stuck to my game plan. I entered my position right here and I took my first partial at the break of 495. I took 5 contracts out of the 20 contracts right here. I took another 5 contracts out on this push up when we were unable to hold above 495. This day was a bit tricky because Adobe is a tech sector stock. It's a NASDAQ stock. But the thing is that Adobe was trying to make new high of the days right here. But if we take a look at QQQ was making new low of the days. It was pretty weak for the first 30 minutes of market open. And that is the reason this stock was a bit tricky to trade, because we saw a huge push towards the downside. We were able to close like a doji and then push towards the upside. But when I saw that, okay, we are unable to hold above 495, I exited my 495 calls. And then in fact, on this candle, I added 20 more contracts to my 500 calls position because my first entry was right here. So I had a very good fill price. I wanted to add to my position 20 contracts, 500 calls, so that my average fill price was around $3.7 and the premiums are holding around 4.5. On this push up, I exited my whole position, and the reason is because QQQ was selling off, and that's what we saw. We we saw a major sell-off on the stock Adobe. Yes, then we later pushed towards the upside, but holding your position from this candle to this candle, your risk is this much. Your reward is this much. So your dynamic risk to reward is not in your favor. And that's why I took all my position out right here. And then I tried another 10 contract position. That was pretty much, I lost like $300, $400 on that trade. But these were my two big winners for the day. Entry right here, exit, exit, entry again, exit my whole position. Got this nice push towards the upside, making $6,600 on these two trades. Now, if we take a look at the 5-minute chart, yes, I entered my position right here around 488, 489. I took my profits right here and on this candle. After that, we saw a sell-off. So most likely my premiums would have gone against me. On this pullback, had I held my position, my premiums would have gone against me, which is against my rules. So if I'm green on a trade, I don't let that trade go against me. So this rule saves me a lot of money in the long run. And that's why on this 5 minutes, yes, we closed like a very bullish candle, but who knows, we could have easily closed like a big red candle right here and then maybe sold off. I honestly wish that QQQ would have supported us a bit, because QQQ again is going for low of the day, right? So this stock is holding very, very strong relative strength. It's showing relative strength compared to the market. But if the market is selling off and you're taking a trade towards the upside, that means you're going against the wind. So a very good example I discussed with our summit members is that imagine that you're riding a bike. So if you're riding your bike against the wind, that means if you're facing headwind, you have to spend a lot of energy compared to if you were riding in the direction of the wind. That means you're facing tailwind. Same thing with the stock market. If you're taking a position towards the upside, but the market is selling off, that means that stock is facing headwind. And if you're taking a trade towards the upside and the market is also going towards the upside, that means your position is facing tailwind. And in this trade, everything was lining up perfectly. The weekly chart, the daily chart, the level 2, the book map, everything was lining up perfectly except the market, because my position was facing headwind from the market. I was in my calls position, but the market was dropping. That makes the price action very tricky to trade. Let's now take a look at my P&L. Overall on this day, I made $6,600 right here. I made $3,500 on my 495 calls, and I made $3,100 on my 500 calls. So yeah, pretty good start to the week. So you just need one good trade to sort you out for the week and month. And fortunately for me, I was able to score a really good trade at the start of the week on a Monday. I even posted about this exact trade idea on my Instagram and Threads app, which is the new app from Instagram. Both the links will be in the description box below. So go give me a follow. I posted about this trade, I think 4 days ago, last week on Thursday, and this worked out beautifully on a Monday. So that is a must follow. And before you go, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, because it helps out the channel a lot to grow and reach new traders out there. If you guys have any questions for me, let me know in the comment section below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.